أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Assalamu alaikum jamiyan wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Jummah Mubarak, this is the first Jummah of the month of Ramadan. Inshallah, we will have many more Fridays, inshallah, in this holy month. So, in fact, it's a very special time. Keep in mind that the month of Ramadan itself is special, but Friday is even a special day. In fact, in a hadith, if I recall just now, for Sheikh al-Mufid of al-Kaf, of Sheikh al-Mufid's book of Amali, that at the time of Iftar, Allah frees 1,000 souls, right? At the time of Iftar, people who are already this time to go for Jannah, Allah frees them. Right? But on Friday, Allah does that every hour. So it's a very special day. Keep in mind that we spend the time in the best way as possible and try to do good deeds. May Allah give us the victory with it. So yesterday, we ended by saying that the Prophet had this recitation upon waking up. So either he would go to Sajda and then rise from the Sajda and recite, or some reports say that he while in Sajda would say, Alhamdulillah alladhi ahyani ba'da ma amatani wa ilayhi nushur. I hope that we already are practicing it. If you have not done so, you should do it. It's not difficult. Strong belief of Prophet that sleep was a temporary death, but Allah has given me life again. And of course, my resurrection, of course, rising again is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fifth Imam also has something similar, but it slightly just says that after, if Allah gives us life again, so what should we do? So, Alhamdulillah, allazi radda alayya ruhi, the one who has returned my soul back to me, ahmidahu, so that I praise him and worship him. So keep in mind that every moment which we are given, worship is a very important part that we are given. Okay, so that was yesterday. The hadith which we did yesterday, I will come to this hadith again about the Prophet's waking up and doing this forecast. But we will look at another hadith from the same book, Sunan Nabi. But before that, let's look at this dua, a beautiful dua, as I said, for at the time of Sahari, or even before Sahari when you wake up. So the third passage is Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa Muhammad. Ilahi in kunta la tarhamu illa al-muti'in faman lil-asin. In kunta la taqmud illa min al-aminin faman lil-mukassirin. So again, the question of rahmah, that mercy of Allah, which is the most important. At every stage, mercy is something which we always try to work for. A person, when he or she commits sins, distances himself from the mercy of Allah. It is so important that you'll find in Quran, a number of places says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. You do these things, so perhaps the mercy of Allah will be with you. Also in dua after Maghrib and after Zuhr prayers, we say, Allahumma inni as'aluka mujibat rahmatik. Oh Allah, I'm asking from you, I'm seeking from you the causes of those action causes which will bring your mercy. So it is important that mercy is there. But then in this dua, we say, In kunta la tarhamu illa al-muti'in faman lil-asin. Yes, of course, God, you are going to have mercy on those who are obedient to you. Understand? But then we also would like to be obedient, but sometimes we slip. We do masiyat, we disobey Allah here and there. Not intentionally, but sometimes certain things happen. So what about that? Allah, are you not going to just, because I disobeyed you, you are going to not have your mercy with me? Because if your mercy is not with me, then when will I get back? Because it's only your mercy which will give me that strength again to go back and become obedient. So it's quite important. When kunta la taqbal illa al-aminin min al-aminin faman lil-mukassirin. Again, Ya Allah, if you only accept the deeds from those who perform good deeds, those who are doers of good deeds. But what about those who are negligent or who fall short in doing the things? So again, it's a beautiful dua, as we say at this particular time. What we have done is that muttaqeen, I use Quranic verses for muttaqeen, because muttaqeen is a person who is pious and good conscience, but not only that, but there is action, right? In the sense that when he tries to stay away from the sins, that requires efforts. In many cases, it requires efforts, right? As we are told that jihad is of different kinds. Jihad is to stay away from disobedience. So jihad is struggle, right? Jihad literally means struggling. So there are times that we have to do jihad. We have to actually struggle to stay away from sins, to stay away from bad things. So that is an amal, right? That is an efforts which we put. Of course, Allah says, for example, in this beautiful story, which I'm sure that all of us have learned, heard this in majalis, in lectures several times, but whereby clearly Prophet has been told, وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ ابْنَيْ آدَمَ بِالْحَقِّ إِذْ قَرَّبَ قُرْبَانًا فَتَقُبِّلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ. O Prophet, just narrate to them the story about the sons of Adam with truth, right? Is qarraba qurbanan, when both of them offered their sacrifice. فَتَقُبِّلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا, but it was only accepted from one of them. وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ, but the other sacrifice was not accepted. And we know from the events narrated by the imams and prophet, right? That the one whose sacrifice was accepted was Habil. The one whose sacrifice was rejected was Kabil. Both of the brothers, right? Kala laktulnaka. The other brother became so angry that when his sacrifice was not accepted, instead of complaining to God, instead of, for example, seeking forgiveness from God, instead of asking his father Adam that, no, you are a prophet, why don't you talk to Allah and what can I do? Instead of correcting the situation, he got angry with his own brother. Not only got angry, he said, I'm going to kill you. And he ended up killing him. Can you imagine? He was so much with rage that when his sacrifice was not accepted, he killed his brother, although his brother had nothing to do with that. But before his brother was killed, he said something which is profound, subhanallah, profound, and it's part of the Quran today. He says, إِنَّمَا يَتَكَبَّرُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Keep in mind, oh my brother, you want to kill me, but Allah only accepts from those who are muttaqeen. So yes, of course, takabbul of the efforts are there for those who do action, those who are muttaqeen. Or for example, earlier we said, right, when we were discussing ayat number 17 of Surah Al-Imran, that there are 5 qualities of muttaqeen. One of them was obedient. They are obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we know, but despite knowing this thing, there are sincere believers who sometimes disobey and are negligent due to circumstances beyond their abilities, beyond their control. What about them? So we are trying to allow that, yes, we realize that you only accept from those who are muttaqeen or those who are obedient. We really understand this thing, and we would also like to be amongst them, but sometimes certain things happen in your life that we slip and then become negligent or become disobedient. So are you not going to have your mercy on us? And especially in this month of mercy, right? As we said yesterday, the Prophet said this month has come with mercy and blessing and forgiveness. So would you not forgive us and then have your mercy? Right? So it is again a beautiful dua, especially at a time when you're going to start a long day's fast in obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At that time you're asking, so it is also the time is important, at what particular time you're asking. So this, I thought I will continue with this dua. Now coming to another hadith from the same book, Sunan Nabi, but this is now from Sheikh Tusi's Misbah al-Tahajjud. The source is Misbah al-Tahajjud of Sheikh Tusi. Now this is interesting. This is a long salat of the Prophet, but which is easy. Although it is long, but easy. Why? Because all of us know Surah Inna Anzalna. All of us know Surah Al-Qadr by heart, right? Sheikh Tusi in Misbah says the Prophet's prayer consists of 2 rakats. In every rakah, Al-Ham is recited once. In Inna Anzalna, there is Surah Al-Qadr 15 times. while standing, 15 times in ruku, 15 times when you stand after the ruku, 15 times when you go to sajda, 15 times when you rise from your sajda, 15 times again the second sajda, and 15 times when you raise your head from the second sajda. So in namaz, keep in mind there are seven, seven actions, right? There are seven, you will find all this in namaz, you'll find that these seven kind of states are there, whereby, we recite this inna anzalna in every state. So for example, there is qiyam to start with, then you go to ruku, then again we rise from ruku, right? Then we go to sajda, fourth, then again we rise from sajda, 5, then we go to sajda again, right? And then we rise from sajda. So if you see that there are 7 states within in salah, in every state of this is the Prophet used to recite Surah Al-Qadr 15 times. Subhanallah. So this is a salat of the Prophet. And although this particular hadith doesn't say it was the time of Sahar, because our discussion is about Sahar, right? At the time of Sahar. So how do we know that this is Sahar? If you see the previous hadith, right? Almost it seems that this particular salat is what is being discussed here. So if you look at this thing, for example, here it is. It says, he collected prayer of the Holy Prophet. He would bring, you can see prayer of the Holy Prophet. Now this is Abu Abdullah. He would bring his wuzu water, cover it and place it near him. And he would put his siwak under his bed, right? Would sleep as long as he would. When he woke up, he recited this ayah and said, after brushing his teeth, he went to his place of prayer, performed 4 rakahs, with the duration of his ruku being equal to his recitation whilst in standing. And the duration of his sajda being equal to that of ruku, right? So you can see that the length of ruku, length of sajda was that of standing. And in that salat we just now discussed, in each area of state, recite 15 times inna anzalna. So the duration you can see is almost similar. So most probably that this is the salat was being referred to, but whether it was this salat or not, at least we know that this is the salat of the Prophet. And this is the month of Ramadan, whereby it's the month of Siyam and Qiyam. It's the month of fasting and the month of praying. So besides wajib prayers, besides the Hajj Salat, we discussed, for example, last 2 days, let's also make a point to find time to recite this particular Salat, which was the Prophet, right? So what happens that if you follow this thing, it is 105 times in each of the 2 rakahs. So that means 210 times you're going to recite Surah Inna Anzalna. Subhanallah, within that namaz, right? And we get the sawab of reciting Quran, and that also in namaz. You could keep in mind that reciting Quran has a lot of reward. But the best state of Quran is what? When we say Quran in the state of, in state of standing, that means in salah. Then comes, of course, you recite Quran whilst you are sitting. And if you can't, for example, sometimes you are so tired, you can just lie and just listen to Quran or recite whatever you know by heart. That's fine. But the best state of reciting Quran is when you are in the state of in namaz. And especially in this case, in this particular salat, is not only standing. You are in qiyam, you're reciting that surah. In ruku, you're reciting those surahs. In sajda. So these are all best states, right? First, salat itself is the best state. And then within salat, first comes qiyam, then comes ruku, and then comes sajda. Sajda is the best state when we are nearest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In proximity, spiritually, we get near to Allah so much. So this is the salat we can hope. And then, of course, for every ayat recited in the month of Ramadan, the reward is equal to completion of the entire Quran. So imagine that you are each Inna Anzalna has 5 ayat, with Bismillah comes 6 ayat, and then 210 times. So you can imagine, and plus 7 ayat of Surah Al-Fatiha, right? So it is quite, and twice recite Surah Al-Fatiha. So 210 times 6, and then another 14 ayat from Surah Al-Fatiha. So you can just see where it reaches, subhanAllah. So this one salat of the Prophet, when we recite, especially at the time of Sahar, right, that you have woken early, you finish your tahajjud, or for example, you done 4 rakat, you don't want to go and rest, so you go recite this 2 rakat, and then continue, tahajjud, that's fine. So this is something I thought I will just remind myself and all of us that may Allah give us the tawfiq that we can at least once during this, and quite early, right? I'm saying this thing on Friday. So this is the first Friday. We still, inshallah, if Allah gives us life and good health, we still have very many days till Eid. So let us try to do this thing. And just keep in mind, just a 2 rakat namaz, as it was the practice of the Prophet, I'm reciting Sunnat Qurbatullah, and of course, the reward is there is just no limit, so much now. So let's try to do it. And this salat reminds me of Namaz Jafar Tayyar. Those of us who do Namaz Jafar Tayyar, it is exactly the same thing. The difference is in Namaz Jafar Tayyar, we recite Tasbiyat Arba, Subhanallahi, Walhamdulillahi, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, after Al-Fatiha, right? So we recite Surah Al-Fatiha, and then of course in the first rakat we recite, we'll discuss about Namaz Jafar Tayyar if need be, that one. But we recite Tasbiyat Arba 15 times in Qiyam, then 10 times in Ruku, then 10 times when you again rise from Ruku, then 10 times in Sajda, then 10 times again you rise from Sajda, 10 times again the second Sajda, 10 times you rise from. So the same 7 state is there, but there it is 75 times instead of 105 times. Why? Because it is 15 in Al-Qiyam, the remaining is 10, 10, 10. So that comes to 60 plus 15 is 75, becomes 75. Here it is 15 throughout, 15, 15, 15 in Qiyam, in Ruku, in Sajda, and instead of Tasbiyat Arba, we recite Surah Al-Qadr. So it is something I thought it is a beautiful thing. Try to do it. Today is Friday. If you can do it today, nothing like that. Friday is the best day of Ibadat. So if you have time, if you can do this thing, I don't know how long it takes. I have not tried myself, but you can just, first of all, recite Surah Al-Qadr and see how long it takes. So it times 105 times 210 times. And plus, of course, the time you spend for Surah Al-Fatiha and Tashahhud and Salam. So that will give an idea about how long it will take. Namaz Jafar Tayyar, for example, both that 4 rakats followed by some tasbih, it takes about half an hour. You can say 25 minutes to half an hour Namaz Jafar Tayyar, which is again a very special salat to be recited on every day, but more so on Friday. This is a salat I thought I will introduce to Mu'mineen, that this was the practice of the Prophet. And as I said, the niyat just should be that I'm reciting the salat, which was the practice of the Prophet, and Sunnah Qurbatullah. Inshallah, if you try it, you start it, later on, if you find the changes in your life, spiritually, health-wise, relations-wise with your family, if you find positiveness, then perhaps you can say that what is it. Besides that, subhanallah, Surah Al-Qadr itself has a lot of reward. We will, inshallah, if time permit, next week, if we time permit, we may discuss about Surah Al-Qadr itself. But just now, let us just confine to Sahar and Suhūr. So we will discuss very briefly about Suhūr, inshallah, next week. Now again, tomorrow is Saturday, and the day after, we will not have the class, not because I'm not available, it's because I have to go to masjid. We started this practice of this after Fajr during COVID, but then after that, I didn't go back to masjid the last 2 years. Although I'm living nearby masjid, I didn't go. And then I realized that the attendance dwindled a lot. They tried to bring somebody else, but they could not. Even this year, I told them, at least get somebody during the weekdays, I'll come weekend. They could not find to come and give a presentation. So I said, at least just to keep the practice, I said, okay, inshallah, I'll try to be there on the weekend. On the weekdays, I will continue with this course, which we started now during COVID. So if you have any questions, fine. Otherwise, please make sure that, again, log in on Monday. We'll continue discussing. We'll also have at least 1 or 2 sessions just on Suhūr, the thing which Prophet used to it and what are the benefits of doing that. Inshallah, we'll also discuss about that. Any questions? Any clarifications? And these 2 rakats we said is part of etikaf and Nawaz show. I see no problem. Yeah, I see no problem. You can do that. But you see, because this is a special form, so it will be good that do Salat al-Tahajjud as it is, and then give this 2 rakats separately, to get benefit. But I see no problem. Yeah, of course, you can do that. There's no problem. Any other questions? Any other clarifications? Okay, so inshallah, see you on Monday. Hopefully, you will talk to your family and friends so they can also benefit, because we have only one more 5 days next week before we complete this course. So we'll be discussing a number of things. In fact, some of the things which I'm discussing is also new to me. In other words, I'm doing studies, I'm reading to find material for this. So it's not only new to you, but even new to me, which also benefits me, inshallah. Inshallah, sir. Please keep us each other in dua, especially pray for people who are suffering. Don't forget to pray for them, inshallah. So, Allah Hafiz.